Welcome to Ministry Mondays with Meg. I'm Meg. Today, I am delighted to introduce you all. Well, she's my new friend. We've met. I love it when I've met my guests in person. I think it always helps when you've met them in person. But sometimes you haven't, and that's okay too. So remember, folks, that if you've not been here before, Ministry Mondays with Meg is just a place where folks come and tell their stories, because ministry is so much more than what happens in a church. It's so much more, and I think it's important for folks to come and tell their stories. So today, telling her story is, please welcome, Chaplain Donna Cosby-Rose. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you. I'm so glad to have you with. I got to meet you at Space for Grace and hear a little bit of your story. And oh, listen, I got something for you. Hear it? Okay. So applause, folks. So let me tell you a little bit about who you are and what you do, and we'll just go from there.
Okay. I am Chaplain Donna Cosby-Rose. I am the Suicide Prevention Chaplain at one of the VA hospitals, and I'm also a grief recovery method specialist. And I just think it's amazing how I even got here. I didn't realize that my mother had so much into it until after I went to seminary. But I wanted to talk about what chaplaincy is, because it is different from being a pastor. And I also wanted to tell you how I believe, and this is my belief. You don't have to go with it if you don't. But I believe every step of the way, God has ordered your steps, and He is in charge of how everything plays out, regardless of what comes up, what you do. You always pull back to where He wanted you to be. And it's amazing how the things that God has done in my life, because I've had people tell me, oh, you're just lucky. No, one time, two times, maybe even three times you're lucky. But continually, no, that's blessing. That's blessing in favor of God. And so you have to recognize Him where He is. So I am a chaplain. I did not know there was something called a chaplain. When I received the call from God to come, I was like, no, I don't think I want to do that. I know how little poor little pastors make. And I know I don't want to do all that. I don't want to be there every weekend. I don't want to have to fight with deacons, trustees. I don't want to do any of that. And God was just really strong about the call. And when I answered and found out and went and sat in Chaplain Harry Simmons' class on Pastoral Care, I was like, hold on, wait a minute. I didn't know that was a thing. I can do this. And then after I learned that Pastoral Care is like congregational care, except you do it for everybody, not just your congregation, not just your denomination, but anybody I come in contact with, I try to make their life a little better before I leave. So that's what I was like, that's cool, I could do that. And so after being finishing seminary for a chaplain, you have to continue education. You have to have 4 units of clinical pastoral education. So you have to go to a facility that is accredited for doing so. And I did my 4 units at James Haley Veterans Hospital in Tampa, Florida. Then after that, I did not get hired immediately. I went and worked in many other different places. And then I got hired by Orlando in Florida. And I love Orlando. Loved being there. I became board certified there. I got my specialty there. And then I moved on to West Palm Beach, which is where I am now. I love it there. And I do my ministry there. I am a grief recovery method specialist. That takes a lot, but I think God has gifted me for that. I had no earthly idea my mom had prepared me to do this. My mother was the bereavement ministry at my church, and the little church I went to is Pine Street Baptist Church. It is a member of American Baptist Churches USA. So I was born, bred, and raised to be American Baptist Churches USA.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And so my mother did all of the bereavement letters, and I was the delivery girl. At 7 years old, I began delivering all the letters. And she would tell me, "You cannot go into that place and deliver a letter, turn around and leave." She said, "No, you have to stay a minute. Ask them how they're doing. Tell them they have to take a bite of my food because I want to know if they liked it. I'll talk with them for a little while." That is exactly what a chaplain does. He comes to your room, your house, when you're not feeling well and not doing well, and sits down with you and asks you how you're doing. And don't leave until I get the information. So that is what I do. And I
Wow.
do. And I am comfortable with grief because everybody grieves. It is a human condition. 100% of us grieve. But the bulk of us don't know how to deal with the grief. And that's what I help people do. Deal with their grief, get past their grief. And generally, your grief is caused by undelivered communication of an emotional nature. For instance, if your mom passed away and you missed being with her by just minutes, that's going to haunt you and hurt you for a long time. And so I sat with you. I let you tell me your story, let you tell me how it made you feel. And then I said, "Okay, so what are your beliefs about love?" Because, see, if you love somebody, you will be grieving that person. That's the way life is. So when you talk about how much you loved your mother and everything, that's when I look at you and tell you, do you not think she didn't feel the same way? That love, even though you didn't get a chance to touch her and express it, she already knew that.
Hmm.
And the mother that you had would not want you to carry the pain with you.
Yeah.
So it allows you to quietly let it go and then move on, knowing that there'll be times when you think of her all day. There'll be times when you swear that you hear her, swear that you smell her perfume, all of that. And those are little blessings to let you know you will see her again.
Hmm.
So those are positive, good things that you leave my group with. And I'm happy to be able to help people do that.
Oh, I'm so glad they have somebody like you that can do that. I, I'm I'm reminded of one of my favorite quotes. I actually have it sitting on my desk that says, "Grief sometimes feels like fear, but it's not. Grief is love with no place to go."
That is correct. That is correct.
And that feels like to me what you've just described
That is
in
correct.
your wow. So is that why people as part of their process like tell the death story over and over? Like that was something that always struck me, like when I was pastoring, and you do a lot of funerals as a pastor. Um, but how the family would tell that death story, mom's death story, dad's, whatever, over and over and over.
It's how they process it. They have to say it because deep in their mind, they're still in shock. And this is a way of saying, okay, this really happened. This really happened. This really happened. And so that's why they tell it over and over again. But then, as they go along with telling it over and over again, this is the job of family and friends to talk about the good times. Remember when mom made that cake that was so fantastic and everyone was waiting for it, and we got to the table and then little Johnny knocked it out on the floor? And then everyone laughs and thinks about good times. That's what I call everybody goes through grief. And you want to move from grieving, which is that visceral pain that you have, to mourning. And one of my favorite things is to say is that joy comes in the morning, because it's in the morning that you remember the good times, the love that you have for her, the love that she had for you, the things that you guys used to do. Like, for instance, I remember for my mom, I had gone away to college. And one of my favorite things that she would make is Lipton burgers. You know, the Lipton onion soup mixed and the burger meat and everything she'd cook, and she'd make Lipton burgers. They were so good. They were my favorite. And I came home, and my Uncle Horace thought my mom was his chauffeur, his cook, his everything. So every day he'd come and hang out with my mom, and she would have to cook a meal for him in order for him to go home. So she had made Lipton burgers, and he told her, give that one to the baby. He called me the baby, even though I had a sister that was 4 years younger than me. I'm like, I'm no longer the baby. She's the baby. But he called me the baby all the time. Give that to the baby. She's just come back from college for the holiday, and she hasn't had one for a while. So I get home from hanging out with my friends that I haven't seen in like forever, and I come in, and mom says, your Uncle Horace left that burger over there for you. I'm kind of hungry. Can I have it? I said, sure, Mama, you can have my burger. And so she said, warmed it up, dressed it up, tomato, lettuce, mayonnaise, mustard, all of that. Sat down, sliced it up, everything, took the first bite of it. I'm sitting there talking to her. She said, oh. And then she smiled. By the way, did I tell you it was a Lipton burger? See, I'm thinking it's a regular burger, not a Lipton burger. And then she busts out laughing and eats the burger. That was my mom. So
I like your mom.
I laugh about that she had that type of thing where she knew she could mess with me, and she knew that I was going to be mad about it, and she knew that smile that she would give was always the look of a jester, that I got away with it. And those are the memories I remember of my mom.
And how amazing that, really, with your story, that your mom at 7 years old set you up for this. And so,
Yes.
I could just feel this conversation going, Mom, here's what I'm going to do. And she said, well, of course you are. Of course you are. Like,
I thought
I know.
She would have loved it, but my mother passed away when I was 30. I didn't go to seminary until I was almost 40. But at 30, she had metastatic breast cancer. And I remember I had gotten into grad school. I went to Dartmouth for grad school. And I had gotten into Dartmouth, and we were told in my second year that she had metastatic bone cancer and that she was only going to live 6 months. And I will never forget how my sister was in service then. My sister served in the Air Force, and my father's retired military. He was in the Army. And so we're all in the room. Dad just couldn't even look at us. He was looking out the window. Me and my sister were just torn up. And my mother fixed her gown, pulled herself up, and told the doctor, I will leave here when God says it's time to go. Now you get the heck out my room and close the door behind you. My mother lived 8 years. She lived long enough to see my sister married. long enough to hold her first grandchild. All of those things. So those are the mercies and blessings of God. You should never turn your life over to a doctor, because my favorite thing to say is that doctors practice medicine, but God is the master physician. She stayed here long enough to leave an indelible imprint upon our lives. So I live my life knowing that God can do whatever he puts his mind to do. If it's what he wants to do, it'll happen.
8 years.
8 years.
Wow. I think I'm going to have to put you on a sticky note on my office wall too.
But God is merciful, because I remember I have fibromyalgia, osteoarthritis, and irritable bowel syndrome. I got diagnosed with that while in my first year at Dartmouth. And they made the comment, and the doctor told me that I would never have children. And the man that I was engaged to marry, he left me because children were so important to him. And I went through years, grieving the loss of what would be, which is a form of grief. There are over 40 different types of grief, but that's what I grieve, the loss of what would have been. And so I made up my mind, if I can't have a child of my own, fine, God, then I will be Mama Donna. I will be mama to all of the children at my church. So there's a whole generation of young people that knew me as Mama Donna. If you needed to have a babysitter for the weekend, I got you, drop a kid off. If you need to go somewhere, I got you, drop a kid off. So on my weekends, I'd have a whole house full of kids, and I loved them. We would do stuff together. We clean my house together. Then I'd take them to the movies. We go to the park. We go different places together. So I got to be mama. And I was like, it's fine. But when I became 33 years old, I got pregnant with my son.
Yeah,
My son will be 24 his next birthday. So he was always wanted. I named him Canaan because that's the promised land that God remembered the Israelites and let them have.
Yeah.
So he's my promised land. But doctor said I wasn't going to have any kids. Doctors practice medicine. God is the master physician. Don't give up on what you want, because God knows what he's got planned for you.
Yes, he does. What a gift.
Yes, he is.
I mean, he is, you are. I mean, this is why we tell stories, is because they give people hope.
Yes.
I mean, imagine someone else listening to this and going, oh, wait a second. I mean,
but like I said, it's over and over and over. God has been there. This is the way he wanted me to go. And when I finally accepted the call and quit running from it, I was like, God, I don't know how we're going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to get to school, all of this. And there were times I was living in Covington, Virginia, and traveling to Richmond I graduated from Virginia Union, the Proctor School of Theology, and I would travel 3 hours to go to school. There were several times that I was like, I don't have enough money for gas. I don't know how we're going to do that. And God just says, do what I tell you to do. I got this. People would walk up to me and give me money. God told me to give this to you. I remember one time I had $5, and I said, well, I'm going to put it in the tank and hopefully I get home. And in the walk from my car to the inside of the gas station to pay the $5, I found $20. See, I'm like, it's like, I got you. Just do what I tell you to do. And I had to learn that. I remember one of the places I lived at, Drake's Branch. I loved living there. It was beautiful out in the
Mm.
woods. And I would go to school, come home, you know, stop by the grocery store, go home. And I remember this one day I was on my way home and God kept telling me, go by the rental office, go by the rental office. I'm like, but I paid rent. I don't need to go by the rental office, go by the rental office. And so I was like, okay, fine, I'll go by the rental office. And when I drove up, two women that worked there ran out of the building and they were running in different directions. I said, what is going on? They said, um, we think so. One of the women in there had a heart attack, and we don't know CPR. And I do. I've known CPR for years. So I went in and performed CPR until the ambulance got there. If I hadn't listened to God, there would have been nobody to perform CPR for that woman. I said, you just got to understand if God is talking to you, please listen.
Yeah.
There's a reason for Him telling you, there's a reason for it.
Amazing.
But I have learned
So,
to listen.
yeah. Wow. Yeah. Um, so you're this the grief recovery, right? And
Mhm.
also suicide prevention.
Yes. When
Talk a
this
little bit about that.
position, I love being the suicide prevention chaplain. There's not a lot of us. And we're generally assigned to areas where they have a higher suicide rate. And what the suicide prevention team does is that they investigate people that are not doing well that say they have suicidal ideation, and then they go through and based on a certain criteria they list them as high risk. If they are listed as high risk, then that means we follow them. I follow them. I work in the hospital half the week and the other half I'm in our domiciliary to continue to follow them. So that's what I do to give them more support. The goal of a chaplain, and most people think, oh, all they do is pray. No, I'm your advocate. So when things aren't right and you tell me things aren't right, then I go and I find somebody and I poke them. Why is this not like that? Why can't he do such and such? Why? 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 And that's my job, to carry out the information to make their lives better than when I came. Because if you make somebody's life better, then they're willing to listen to you talk about God. Somebody that's hungry can't hear you talk about God.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that's thirsty can't hear you talk about God. Someone that's suffering needs you to help them and say, I'm here with you and you're not alone. And that's basically what I do all day long.
Yeah.
And I love what I do.
And it shows. It 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 really does. I mean,
Mhm.
you are such a gift. You are such
I
a
am
gift.
what God intended me to be. And like I said, I didn't even realize that my mom was gearing me towards this until I went to seminary. And I took a class in seminary where they had me look at my life and say, what what woman was instrumental in your life? And I think I'm like, it has to be my mom. But they said, how does that compare and how does that feed in to what you do? And that's when I realized, wait a minute, my mom was the bereavement department. She was the department of one. She wrote all the letters, and I was the one that had to deliver them.
Mm.
And then I would come in and say, hey, Miss So and so, mom sent the letter over here with, and she baked you a cake. She's like, oh, thank you, baby. And I come in, I can't leave till after you take a bite of the cake because she's going to ask me if you liked it and if you took a bite. So then I sit down and I'd ask her how she's doing. How you feeling?
Mm.
And then she would talk to me about her husband, how she
Mm.
missed him, and how she used to talk this way about him and everything. And I would learn their stories and how they were feeling. So I loved that. And she was happier and she had eaten when I left. And it's important that you eat when you are grieving because you will forget to eat, to bathe, to drink, all of that. So that when your mind finally comes back to itself, now your body is messed up because you haven't been feeding it, you have not been drinking, you're not getting enough sleep, all of that. So your body, it's all holistic. You hear people talk about the whole health thing. That is real. Chaplains have been doing whole health long before it became a thing. But we have to make sure that you're still around after you get through grieving.
Do you recognize your own grief?
Yes. That's the reason why I became a grief recovery method specialist.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
you can't be one unless you've been through the grieving process. When my mother passed away, it was a whirlwind to me. I had, when she had the metastatic bone cancer, there would be times she would have to go in and need blood. Well, I'm a universal donor, so I went and had them freeze my blood because I knew my blood was clean. You could give my mom my blood. And I talk to my mom every day, sometimes several times a day. But this Sunday, we had talked on the phone and everything. She went Monday to have her dialysis because the cancer and the medication that she was taking for the cancer had destroyed her kidneys. So she was now on dialysis. So she went to her dialysis appointment. They plugged her up to her port up to the machine, and they went to work on other patients. Well, by the time they came back to my mother, her port had blown, and she was covered in her own blood. So they had to call an ambulance, take her to the hospital. They took her to the hospital. They did not give her any blood. So my blood was not given to her. All this happened on Monday. I didn't know any of this was going on. Tuesday, my mother was, I think 5'10", 5'11". She was a tall woman and a big woman with great big hands. And she, the nurse tried to get her up to, two nurses tried to get her up to weigh her, and they dropped her.
Oh.
She was too big for them to, the two of them to try to weigh. But around about noon, she started calling for us. I left and I came home, and I was able to spend a little time with her before she passed away. But I could see she was fighting to try and stay there. And I told her, Mom, you've done all you can for us. You fed us. You showed us what we need to do, how we need to live, and who we need to be. And I said, I promise you, I will see you again. And then she passed away. Now, my grief was this. Yes, I talked to my mother all the time, but that one particular day, I could not remember. Did I tell her I love her? I could not remember. That ate at me for years. Did I tell her? Did I miss that one opportunity where she would know? Did I tell her that I love her? And when I went through the grief recovery method, that's when I learned she knows me. We talked all the time. We were very close. She knows me. Yes, she knew that I loved her.
Yeah.
And my undelivered message I have carried on my soul when I didn't have to carry it. It was something she was already, sure of. And then as I began and worked through all of that, I remember her saying to me and my sister, when we said we must be a problem to you, and she said, no, you and your sister have been the joy of my life, the reason I have lived. And when I remembered that, it was what was able to help me let this go.
Mm.
And when you do that and you remove that, it changes how you act, how you feel, all of that. So people need to be reminded of the good so they can, go back into their memory and pull back the good things. And then you'll run across something where she's told you, I love you.
Mm.
And when you find that out, it's like, okay, I'm able to let this go now.
Mm.
So, yeah, I had to go through it.
Yeah.
To realize, hey, this is a great program.
Yeah.
And this is what I want to do.
Yeah. Well, I'm grateful for you and people like you. I mean, I did the CPE, the Clinical Pastoral Education, as part of my MDiv, and
Mm-hmm.
I think anyone that serves in ministry should take it, because it's that important for you to see all of and experience all of.
It gives you a different dynamic because you're
Mhm.
used to congregational care, but you're not always going to have to deal with your congregation. You are going to go to conferences, you're going to go
Mhm.
and mingle with different people from different religions, and you have to learn how to be accepting of those
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you may be the only Christ somebody sees.
Yeah.
And so you
Yeah.
have to know how to carry that.
Yeah.
And that teaches you how to do that.
Mm-hmm. It really does. It's life changing.
Yes, it
As long as
is.
you let it, be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could sit there all closed up,
Mm-hmm.
but don't do that. Like, yeah.
And CPE is about you learning who you are with God. It has nothing about the other people you're serving. It's who am I in God? And how can I use what I already have to improve the life of the other that I'm walking beside, I'm talking with.
Yeah. Are you gonna write a book someday? Because like,
I am hoping
I
to
think
write
you
a book.
should.
I am really hoping to. But the issue with me is that I stay go gadget so much. Cause like um I have like two groups in the dom that I have and one group in the hospital that I have, and they're like, can we do another group? No, we can't. And Orlando's fantastic because there's a lot of grief recovery method specialists there, but I'm the only one in West Palm, and it's good. But I have to. Next year we do posters every year, but this year I wasn't ready. But next year I'll be ready to do my poster presentation about the effectiveness. The grief recovery method is the only evidence-based grief recovery um, organization. And so if you've got the evidence base behind that, and that's what I intend to show them, because I've been collecting surveys from all of my veterans that I've had in my group, so that now I will show you how this is evidence based.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
going to be really good, and I'm hoping that
Yeah.
they will open it up to allow others to become grief recovery method specialists.
That's awesome. That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. So we come to that question, the joy question.
Mm-hmm.
And I never assume. I learned that very early on. You think that you know what somebody's answer is going to be, and then every time they surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
So, what brings you joy?
Oh my gosh. God brings me joy. His nature brings me joy. That's how I replenish everything. I have my emotional support cat, but I go outside into nature. That was always my big thing. When I
Mm.
was a kid, I grew up in, like I said, the little place of Covenant, Virginia, that if you sneeze, you'll miss us on the road as you go past. But it was wonderful to grow up there. I used to sneak off and go into the mountains and walk around. You could pick blackberries, you could pick apples, you could do all of these things and bring them home and prepare them. And I was like, when I told people about that when I went away to college, they were like, gosh, you must have been poor. I didn't feel poor at all. I felt wonderful. Felt wonderful. I loved being that. I loved waking up in the morning, going out on the front porch with my dad, having a cup of coffee, and you could look up on a hill and you could see 3 horses that would play. And it was wonderful. It was always something that said, look at God and what he has done. Don't miss the beauty of this world by all the problems of this world.
Fantastic. It's a fantastic. See, I never assume. But here's an important follow-up question, because we have viewers that are cat fans. You said you have an emotional support cat. What is emotional support cat's name?
His name is Maximus.
Maximus. Okay.
We just call him Maximus.
It's important, names are important. And we've had a few cats appear on the show because, well, they like to.
Yeah, I was surprised. Normally he's in here looking at me, but he came when I sat up, and then he went on back up the thing. I have my emotional support cat, and my husband's cat is Missy, and
okay,
call her Toots was what her name was, but he calls her Miss Toots. So Missy.
Miss Toots. Yeah.
But,
yeah.
We named her Toots because her back legs are long white, and the rest of it is like a motley colored, rest of her.
Oh.
And so it looks like she's got on high heel boots. And she's a girl cat, so she switches when she walks. I said, look,
yes, she does. She does. I love it. Well, we are
is huge. He's huge. That's why he's the Max. Maximus is huge.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely fans. We're definitely fans. So I'm so grateful for you, for your ministry,
for the opportunity you asked me about this. This was something.
And when you write that book, you're going to come back and talk all about it. Yes, and we'll let everybody know. And I look forward to it. I look forward to learning more, and that's what this show does. Is gives me a deep appreciation of all those different ministries.
I want to leave them with one thing.
Yes, please.
Connect with God. Your individual connection with God is the most important thing you will ever have. And he will give you joy in the midst of all the chaos and things that are going on around you. Because I tell people all the time, look around you. There's a lot of bad going on. But you have to find good and share that good with somebody so that they can find the strength to continue on. We don't get to heaven by yourself. That's why they call it the army of the Lord. We are together, all of us together, and we walk this road together. Share it.
Okay, folks. So what a word to end this on. What a word to end this on. We're going to clip that part or something and put it out there. Because, thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh my gosh. It's the thing that brings me joy is hearing other people's stories and having the opportunity to share them with so many other people. So thank you. And we thank everybody for watching and listening, and reach out. We can't wait to hear your story about your ministry, and we'll see